Welcome to Ibajan Universe. Don't forget to subscribe, like and share this video with your friends. The candles on the cake flickered, casting warm, dancing light across the faces of his family. August 5th. Wang Yibo watched the flames, a familiar, almost imperceptible hum vibrating beneath the surface of his perception, the constant low thrum of the echo syndrome, his reality's background noise of filtered emotions and sensory overloads. He smiled, a practiced, polite curve of his lips, but inside, his nerves were singing a quiet, tired tune. His mother, elegant and perceptive, moved towards him, a small, sleek box held delicately in her hands. "Happy birthday, my son," she murmured, her eyes holding a depth of understanding that always bypassed his usual defenses. "This one, it's special." Yibo took the box. It was cool and smooth, crafted from a dark, iridescent material that seemed to absorb the candlelight. He opened it. Inside, nestled on a bed of velvet, was a single, minimalist earpiece. It was impossibly sleek, almost organic in its design, a subtle curve of polished obsidian and what looked like woven moonlight. No buttons, no visible lights. It was a piece of art in itself, yet its purpose was a mystery. "It's a resonance harmonizer," his mother explained, her voice soft. "A friend helped me design it. Something to help you hear the world's song, not its static." Yibo's brow furrowed slightly, a flicker of apprehension. His echo syndrome was a closely guarded secret, known only to his closest family and Xiao Zhan. His mother's casual mention, her uncanny understanding, was unsettling. He glanced at Zhan, who met his gaze with a knowing, reassuring smile. Zhan had always been his anchor, his filter against the relentless sensory assault. He lifted the earpiece. It was impossibly light, cool against his fingertips. He hesitated for a fraction of a second, then, with a deep breath, he slipped it into his ear. The world imploded, but not into chaos. Into absolute, profound, breathtaking silence. The constant low hum of the echo syndrome, the thousand overlapping conversations from distant rooms, the silent anxieties of the guests, the frantic pulse of the city outside, the barely perceptible vibrations of the building's foundation, all of it gone. The world's relentless static, which had been his constant companion since childhood, vanished. He heard only the clean, crisp sound of his own breath, the gentle rustle of his shirt, the soft crackle of the candles. The world was utterly, unbelievably quiet. Tears, hot and silent, welled in Yibo's eyes, blurring the faces of his family. He hadn't realized the true weight of the noise until it was gone. This wasn't just quiet. This was liberation. This was the first mind-blowing scene, a personal universe recreated in an instant. He felt a lightness he hadn't known was possible, a space opening up in his mind that had been perpetually filled. Xiao Zhan, seeing the silent tears, rushed to his side, his hand finding Yibo's, a warmth that was now distinct, not interwoven with phantom echoes. He understood. This was more than a gift. This was a miracle. Later, in the privacy of their apartment, the harmonizer still nestled in Yibo's ear, the initial shock gave way to an exhilarating curiosity. The world remained profoundly quiet, but Yibo found himself focusing, consciously allowing small, controlled echoes to surface. He listened to music, not with his ears, but with the harmonizer's enhanced perception. The first note of a song didn't just play, it blossomed into a vibrant, three-dimensional aurora of pulsating colors that filled the room. The bass was a deep, resonant crimson that pulsed through the floorboards, the melody a swirling, intricate helix of luminous blues and greens, the high notes sharp, crystalline bursts of gold. He wasn't just hearing music, he was seeing and feeling its pure, unadulterated essence, a mind-blowing symphony for all his senses. His echo syndrome was no longer a burden, it was a conduit for sublime beauty. He held out a hand to Zhan. "Touch it. Feel the music." Zhan tentatively placed his hand in the shimmering aurora of sound, and his eyes widened. He could feel the vibrations, the warmth of the reds, the coolness of the blues, a direct, undeniable experience of the music's visual form. It was a shared reality, orchestrated by Yibo, enabled by the harmonizer. The true power of the resonance harmonizer, however, unfolded when Yibo began to create. He stood before a blank canvas, the brushes in his hand. Instead of battling the chaos of raw emotions that usually accompanied his artistic process, the harmonizer filtered them, allowing him to selectively amplify and translate them. He focused on a single pure feeling, the profound, quiet love he held for Jean. As he dipped his brush into paint, the colors on his palette didn't just sit there, they shimmered with an inner light, radiating the exact emotion he was trying to capture. The reds glowed with warmth, the blues with peace, the yellows with pure joy. The canvas, as he painted, seemed to hum, pulling the very emotional resonance from his brushstrokes, creating a living, breathing painting that pulsed with the palpable emotion he infused into it. Viewers, if they were there, wouldn't just see art, they would feel it. The painting was a direct emotional transmission, a mind-blowing fusion of feeling and form. Jean, watching, felt the profound love radiating from the canvas, a warmth that filled the room. He walked to the painting, and as his hand hovered over it, he felt the exact emotion Yibo had intended, a powerful, tender surge of affection that brought tears to his eyes. This wasn't just a painting, it was a conversation, a physical manifestation of Yibo's deepest feelings, now perfectly communicated. The most mind-blowing scene came during a quiet evening. Yibo, guided by the harmonizer, felt a surge of longing, not for a past memory, but for a future they had only dreamed of, a serene, futuristic garden, lush with impossible flora. He reached out, his hand instinctively reaching for Jean's. As their fingers intertwined, the harmonizer pulsed, sending out a profound, resonant frequency. The apartment walls, the furniture, the very air around them didn't just fade, they dissolved into shimmering motes of light, carried away on a gentle cosmic breeze. When the light settled, they were no longer in their apartment. They were standing in a boundless living garden of pure starlight, a landscape of their wildest dreams made real. The trees shimmered with iridescent leaves, their branches reaching towards a sky filled with multiple, gentle moons. The ground beneath their feet was soft, glowing moss, and a crystal-clear river flowed with liquid starlight. This was a future they had only ever conceived in fleeting wishes, now made perfectly tangible, a shared, boundless reality sculpted by Yibo's purified echoes and their combined love. The garden was serene, beautiful, and utterly impossible, a testament to the fact that his mother's gift had given him not just control, but the power to create a universe. They walked through the starlit garden, hand in hand, the resonance harmonizer a silent, steady hum in Yibo's ear. His echo syndrome, once a torment, was now the very essence of his artistry, his connection, his power to shape reality. His mother had given him more than a gift, she had given him freedom, a new way to live, and a key to a future that was limited only by the boundless love he shared with Jean. Stay tuned to Yibo Jean Universe for updates, exclusive breakdowns, and emotional reactions as the story unfolds. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, because this miracle might just be real. The air was filled with the sweet, ethereal scent of impossibly blooming flowers. Wang Yibo and Xiao Zhan stood in the starlight garden, a living testament to a love that could bend reality. The resonance harmonizer, the sleek earpiece Yibo's mother had gifted him, hummed with a quiet, powerful energy. Its purpose was no longer just to bring silence. It was a key to a universe of their own making. "This," Jean whispered, his voice filled with reverence, "is beyond anything we've ever done. It's real." Yibo, his hand outstretched, gently touched a leaf on a tree made of light. The leaf didn't crumble, it felt cool and smooth, its texture palpable. He understood. The harmonizer hadn't just created an illusion. It had used his filtered echoes to draw upon the raw fabric of reality itself, sculpting their dream into a tangible, temporary universe. The garden was a perfect, personal world, but Yibo felt a new sense of purpose stirring within him. This power could not be contained to just their private desires. He looked at Jean, a profound question in his eyes. What else could it do? He focused, and the garden around them began to subtly shimmer and fade, not into nothingness, but into a different kind of reality. The starlight-strewn path gave way to a sun-drenched lot. The impossible trees dissolved into the skeletal frames of half-built film sets. The cool, ambient hum of the garden was replaced by the familiar din of a movie set, the chatter of the crew, the distant roar of a generator, the call of a director. They were no longer in their apartment. They were standing on a bustling soundstage, a perfect, vibrant recreation of their past. "Our first meeting," Yibo murmured, his voice thick with emotion. The harmonizer had accessed not just his memories, but the echoes of the past, using them to create a living, breathing archive of a shared moment. They saw younger versions of themselves, walking past, utterly oblivious to the future, their faces etched with youthful focus and quiet ambition. They saw and heard the ghostly echoes of the crew, their movements and conversations a silent, shimmering hum around them. This was a profound, mind-blowing journey into a living memory, a testament to the harmonizer's ability to act as a temporal gateway, making the past a tangible, touchable reality. They decided to test the harmonizer's power for a new purpose. They went to a public park, the device now a benevolent tool. Yibo, with Jean's guidance, didn't suppress his echoes. He allowed the harmonizer to actively tune into the emotional static of the people around them. The park, to Yibo, was a visual and auditory cacophony. He saw the loneliness of an elderly man on a bench as a solitary, faded gray light, heard the anxiety of a young woman's job interview as a jarring, discordant static, and felt the frustration of a child's tantrum as a sharp, piercing pain. It was a chaotic, beautiful symphony of human emotion, and it was overwhelming. "We have to help," Jean said, his empathy reaching out to the chaos. "Find the harmony, Yibo. Create a song for them." Yibo closed his eyes and, with Jean's hand in his, channeled his profound artistic will through the harmonizer. He focused on a single, pure thought: calm. He began to sculpt the chaotic echoes, gathering the discordant colors and sounds. The gray of the old man's loneliness was blended with the vibrant yellow of a child's laughter. The sharp static of anxiety was smoothed by the gentle, rhythmic pulse of a mother's calm. As he worked, the harmonizer responded, emitting a low, powerful hum that subtly permeated the park. In a few moments, the air was no longer thick with emotional noise. Instead, it was filled with a beautiful, silent, communal symphony of harmonious light and color. The gray light around the old man brightened with a hint of gold, a soft sense of peace washing over him. The sharp, anxious static around the young woman faded, replaced by a gentle, soothing blue light that seemed to calm her mind. This was a profound, mind-blowing act of collective emotional healing, a silent, benevolent wave of harmony that Yibo had created for an unsuspecting world. The ultimate act, however, was reserved for their family. They invited them to their apartment, not just for a visit, but for a journey. The family, now accustomed to their reality-bending love, arrived with an air of profound anticipation. Yibo, with Jean's hand in his, activated the harmonizer. The apartment dissolved, and they all stepped into the starlight garden. But this time, it was different. The garden wasn't just a projection of Yibo's echoes. The harmonizer was now connected to a new set of participants. The garden's colors, textures, and even its landscape began to subtly change, reflecting the emotions and memories of the family. The air filled with the gentle, rhythmic hum of his father's quiet love, which manifested as a field of perfectly symmetrical, impossibly green grass. The scent of Jean's mother's favorite flower, a fragrant peony, suddenly permeated the air, its petals pulsing with a radiant glow. The gentle chaos of his cousin's boundless energy manifested as tiny, impossibly bright fireflies that danced and wove complex patterns in the air around them. The starlight garden was no longer just Yibo and Jean's creation. It was a living, breathing, mind-blowing testament to their unified family, a perfect, organic expression of their collective love and shared reality. They were no longer just a family, they were a collective force for creation, a new kind of miracle. Yibo looked at his mother, a silent, profound understanding passing between them. The harmonizer was more than a gift. It was a catalyst, a key that had unlocked a new purpose, a way to turn a lifelong burden into a source of boundless wonder. It had given him the power to not just live in his own reality, but to share it, to heal it, and to create it, a beautiful, mind-blowing journey that had only just begun.